Hi everybody and welcome back to a new Pokemon of every type video, which is inspired by Maticcs series, where he and a few artists give regional variants of every type to certain Pokemon. I once tried this trend myself with Tatsugiri for every region, which were a lot of fun to create, even though technically I did not cover all types. Today I will cover the Ghost and Steel type Kalos Pokemon Honedge. Honedge is a dope looking ghost Pokemon. It gets born when the soul of a deceased warrior inhabits a sword as its new home. I believe it got its main popularity from its final evolution, which can switch between two forms. Swords and weapons in general can be found everywhere around the world and look widely different, so I thought this would be perfect to create a variety of Honedge regional variants. Some of them will also be present in my main series, the Shift and Gridlock series. If you're interested, please check it out here. But back to Honedge. Its main characteristics are, well, the weapon shape, the hand-looking ribbon, the teeth-looking pattern, and its 3 eyes. According to the Shield Dex entry, the blue eye is actually its, well, normal body and the rest is just the possessed sword. So why don't we start with the pure ghost type Honedge based on the blue eye? The design is super simple. A blue eye with a black body. The tail is loosely shaped like a small claw, which it uses to attach itself to objects like, well, the sword or whatever weapon it can find. Since it is the soul of a fallen warrior, I also gave it 2 scars to indicate battle-based wounds. Let's keep it family friendly. And here is the original pure ghost type Honedge. They can be found en masse on battlefields. However, they try to attach themselves to weapons as fast as possible to get back to fighting. Now to the, let's call them, starter types, beginning with water. At first I thought I may make a Choke Fakemon and create a Water Pistol Honedge, but I fortunately did not go with that. I made something way better. I used a Sharktooth sword, which can, for example, be found on the Gilbert Islands. These swords don't include any metal, like it's usually the case for swords. They are made out of wood, shark teeth and cords to hold them in place. I shaped the body also like an angler hook, fishing hook, I think it's fishing hook, and added some teeth on the front. It, realistically speaking, wouldn't be a great weapon to use, but it definitely looks scary, so it may be enough to scare opponents away before even fighting them. I decided not to add a hand-looking cloth on this form, since it uses its hand-like cloth thingy to hold the teeth in place. And it just looked weird when I tried, so I decided to just stop it. So here it is, a ghost and water type Honedge. It is found in a tropical region without natural metal to create weapons from. These swords are rarely used for actual fighting, they are more often an insignia of wealthy warriors. Next up, grass. I instantly had the idea to create a Honedge based on the Japanese wooden sword, the Baken. No idea how to actually pronounce it, the internet told me so many different ways, so yeah. It is basically a wooden version of a katana, wakisasho or tanto. They are used for training since it's more safe and you don't have to use your actual steel sword and maybe even damage it in the practice. However, it can still be a very effective weapon if the right user holds it. They usually look rather plain but stylish in my opinion. I decided instead of giving it a cloth part, it has a spiky branch that it uses to move around or attach itself to the arms of a warrior. It doesn't have teeth since the vine is covering up that part. Here it is, a grass and ghost type Honedge. These Honedge are not actually possessed by the spirits of fallen warriors, but they are brought back to life by negative energy after the original sword got switched out for a more effective sword and they just felt left behind. Now the last of the 3 starter types, fire. So, fire. What weapon uses fire? Well, a literal bomb would be too dark, or like a gun. A historical weapon incorporating fire is the Greek fire, which are basically flamethrowers used by ancient Roman people to burn down ships. I decided to fuse the bomb and the Greek fire idea. The body shape is an arybalos, a vessel from ancient Greece to hold oil. They were used by sportsmen and had nothing to do with Romans, but we're not here for archaeological accuracy. The shape was fitting, so I just used it. I thought it looked cool. It has a rope around its head, which it uses to launch itself through the air and at enemies. Giving it teeth looked weird, so I didn't do that. Here it is, the fire and ghost type Honedge, which in my opinion would be the most dangerous one, since it can be very uncontrollable and random. It wants to light stuff on fire, this little arsonist. It launches itself through the air and that random stuff, so watch out. So 4 are done, 4 more to go. Let's take a look at the most basic type, normal. Normal was hard because I had to choose something that screams normal and basic, but that was not that easy. In the end I settled for the Gladius, a Roman short sword. Mainly because I thought that's like the cliché sword people think about when Roman Empire comes to their mind, and I needed a sword inspired by a Roman weapon for the Germansburg region, so it was fitting perfectly. And again, we're not going for historically accurate, not for any of these. Anyways, it has a belt which can be used to fix it around the shoulder or the waist of the warrior. Here it is, the ghost and normal type Honedge, the only type combination that makes the normal type cool. No offense if you like the normal type. They can be found in the Germansburg region on the scene of an ancient battlefield. Next up, the counterpart to the Roman Honedge, a psychic type one. So this one is based on the antenna dagger, which is a weapon found in the Bronze and Iron Age, and even though I said it's the counterpart to the Gladius one, the antenna dagger is a bit older, and I don't want to go too in depth, but I basically wanted a Roman weapon versus one that was used by the Germanic people, but I couldn't find a really iconic Germanic weapon, so I went with the older antenna dagger, which comes from the time of the Celts, which by the way, they never really existed. There never was a big group that called themselves the Celts. They were all smaller groups, but whatever, that's enough. The spirals of the antenna dagger were easy to interpret as some like confused spinning eyes, which gave me the idea of a psychic type. It of course isn't actually confused, it uses its eyes to hypnotize its opponents. Here it is, the ghost and psychic type Honedge. Like the normal and ghost type Honedge, it can be found in the Germansburg region in a specific former battlefield. They are often seen clashing their blades with each other. So the next one will be fighting. The first thing that came to my mind when thinking about the fighting type was a giant battle axe, and the second one was Vikings. I decided to fuse these two ideas. While drawing the axe head and handle, I realized it kinda looks like a battleship, so I attached a sail looking part of the cloth to the handle, which probably would be very impractical, but whatever. The axe head looked boring, so I added a wave motif on the base. When this Honedge attacks, it usually aims for the head and directly stares into the eyes of its opponent as some sort of psychological warfare. Here it is, the ghost and fighting type Honedge. They can also be found in the Germansburg region, however not during what basically would be the main game. They are known for the will to battle and their absolute loyalty. And lastly, the dark type. This one isn't really based on a typical weapon. For dark I chose the man catcher, a pole weapon used to catch violent prisoners and to drag warriors from horsebacks. According to the Wikipedia page, the warriors wore armor, so the spikes of the man catcher didn't actually kill them, but it still looks like a really brutal weapon. Perfect for the dark type. It has a lot more obvious teeth and 2 little arms. They can be thrown at opponents and will smoothly wrap around their throats and hold them in place. The concept is probably too dark even for a dark type, but hey, I don't have to be that family friendly. Here it is, the ghost and dark type Honedge, together with the fire one, probably the most odd one because they're not really based on cutting or hitting weapons, but I really like it. So which one of these 8 do you like the best? Please let me know in the comments. I already made the sketches for the flying, electric, ground, dragon, ice and poison type Honedge. However, I'm really struggling with rock, fairy and especially the bug one. So if you have any ideas and want to see me draw them, please just write a comment and help me out with this. I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of, well, either 2 or 3. It definitely was a lot of fun for me, so I hope you enjoyed it as well. Please leave a like and subscribe to not miss any new videos. See you in the comments.